Welcome back to our next episode in the Sustainable series. I'm Emily from Authentic Beauty Concept, and I'm joined by my fantastic host, Steph.
I'm Steph. I'm a PhD researcher and lecturer in the Department of Sustainable Development at Utrecht University, and I'm also the head for research with Green Salon Collective.
We are really excited to bring the next instalment of this series, which is a partnership between Authentic Beauty Concept and the Green Salons Collective, talking about all things sustainability and how you can be more sustainable in your personal life or in the salon. And we are joined by a fantastic guest today, Mel from En Route. So, Mel, I will let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Emily. So, my name's Mel Tudor. I'm from En Route Hair and Beauty. I've been open 27 years. And I am a massive sustainable salon, and I work really hard to try and be as sustainable as we possibly can.
I mean, I feel Mel is underselling herself slightly there because she has many accolades to her name. You've won quite a few awards now for your sustainable practices. You're also a Green Libertine as part of the Green Salon Collective. So it's obviously something that you're incredibly passionate about. And I know it's something that's really personal to you as well.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about being sustainable, and I'm kind of working hard as well to try and encourage other people to be more sustainable, because I think there's a lot of fear about, sustainability, don't know what to do, don't know where to start. So yeah, I am a big advocate for being more sustainable, both at home and at work, basically.
Amazing.
Can you walk us through that maybe a bit? Tell us a bit about how
tell you
you
my why?
educate. Okay.
Shall I tell you my why?
Oh.
Because I always talk about my why. And my why is when I was 50, well, going back even further, actually, I came from a sustainable household without really realising it. We had solar panels on his roof in the late 70s. We had cavity wall insulation. My dad was a vegan in the late 70s. I was a vegetarian from being 13. And I think a lot of these things had just been embedded a little bit. Anyway, leading up to my 50th birthday, I'd kept seeing lots of things about the rainforest and things and the plight of the orangutans. So I decided when I was 50 that I wanted to go to volunteer. So off I went to Borneo, and I was a little bit green, I suppose, at the time, because I knew there were problems there, but I really wanted to try and help. So off I went to Borneo, and flying into Borneo, I was like, what is going on here? Because what would have been prime rainforest was now palm oil plantations. And it was quite shocking. So when I got down to ground level and got to an orangutan sanctuary that I was working at, it was devastating, absolutely devastating. The plight of the orangutans. There'd been, the mothers had strayed onto palm oil plantations and they'd been killed, and then the babies had been kind of taken because the humans thought, oh, lovely, this baby orangutan loves me, it's clinging on for dear life, and then by the time the orangutan came a teenager, it was troublesome, so they shoved it in a cage, and the sanctuary was full of them, and a lot of them would have never been released.
Yeah.
But there was some bears, there were macaques, there were so many animals that had been displaced with palm oil. But the point I'm making about palm oil is because at that time, most shampoos had palm oil in because it was a foaming agent, which I know, has changed a lot now. And when I came back from Borneo, I just thought I need to make some changes. And it's taken me a long time to talk about that story out personally because it's so upsetting.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, I've heard this story many times, and I feel like Mel's done well not making light of it, but to shed a tear, because we always usually get very emotional.
I've been on public speaking courses because it is so upsetting that my heart wrenches every time I tell it. And, I could go into it further, which I'm not going to today because it is quite heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Anyway, the positive side of all that is I came back and thought I need to do something. Yeah. So I started researching companies. I went to Schwarzkopf, I spoke to them and said, what are you doing by then? I think that was 2016. And they said by 2020, we are going to make sure we're using sustainable palm oil. But actually, as it happened, they'd got rid of it all. And then things evolved, like now we use Authentic Beauty and we don't even have to worry about anything like that. But it is, and that's where it started. So then from there, I just literally ticked every box that I possibly could to start making changes.
And I really like that. I think that idea of finding your why, and obviously your why is really emotional and a fantastic story, but I think it doesn't have to necessarily be as big as that, although that's as impressive as it is. But I mean, I'm sure Steph has her why for why she's dedicated so much time and energy into her research. And I think if you can really find
Your
your
why.
reason, and even if it's just that you want your grandchildren to see an animal in the wild, or you just want to know that you're doing your bit, I think that is a really great first step on the journey to making sustainability more accessible for everybody.
And you're right, my story seems quite big, and they're like, well, I'm not going to go rampaging around the rainforest and this, that, and other, but it could be a small why.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Just think a little bit about why, instead of taking this planet for granted, because that's the problem, isn't it, Steph? We're just taking it all for granted.
Yeah.
Did you have a why when you got into?
It was when I had
research?
kids.
It was when you had children.
Yeah, it was just their future, because you know, when they grow up and they look into my eyes and ask, "What did you do to help?" and I can now say that, well, there's a few things.
Yeah.
So finding your why, and then finding those first steps is really important, and then letting that things go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the first steps don't have to be as daunting as you might seem.
Right.
What were your first steps, Mel?
So I think, so first of all, I researched the palm oil and the sodium lauryl sulfate, and I went out of my way to try and find every company that didn't have it in. So that was my first
So looking
thing.
at your product
So
portfolio
looking
was
at
your
my
first step.
product and and the company that I was using.
Yeah.
Secondly, we're recycling, huge,
Yeah.
massive, and by we must have been using Green Salon Collective now since they started, so that's probably a good 5 years.
Yes.
Same thing, scary to start with, because you're thinking, you know, we're talking about an eco fee. What do you mean eco fee? Are they really going to pay this?
Getting your staff on board.
Yeah, getting the staff on board.
Yeah.
Getting the staff on board is quite tricky, because I mean, even now I've got a great team, but I still have to go around in those bins, and I'm pulling bits out of here and pulling bits out of there, and you know, it's like having a load of children. Even at home I do it, you know, it's but I do find, like, my mum is 85 and she's an amazing recycler, because it's a different generation. You know,
I think
don't...
it's kind of dedicating the actual mental capacity, isn't it? And you don't realise how, like, pre-programmed you are to just, like, I'll just put one thing in the bin, it doesn't matter. Or, like, oh, I can't be bothered to take the top off that bottle, like, because they need to go, and it's almost like reprogramming your neural pathways, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be like,
Indeed.
you know, if I just am a bit more conscious.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
a bit like brushing your teeth. It should end up like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of recycling, massive recycling. And also, when I had my salon refurbished, I had it refurbished. I didn't go out and buy new chairs. I had them all recovered, and I did things like that, you know. So we're trying to repurpose as well is quite important. But
I think
even
that's really nice, because we're in such a, like, I think it can feel hard, doesn't it? Like, I know, like, vintage has really boomed, and, like, buying secondhand, and it's, you know, but you forget sometimes, and even you catch yourself and you're like, oh, but, like, I want new because you feel like new feels better. But actually, if you can, as you said, like, actually the knock-on effect of not always having new and buying maybe something better quality that comes from a B Corp or, you know, something like that actually has far better, will have much more longevity as well than kind of, you know, I won't go down the fast fashion rabbit hole today, but, you know, it's really interesting when you kind of challenge your own beliefs on these things.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes it can be quite tricky. I don't sit here saying I'm perfect. I am not perfect. I just try my best. But yeah, even like I've just had my arms on my chairs at work were looking a bit tatty, and the chairs look terrible. And I found a little company that sprayed, and I've had them all done, and they look amazing. And I just thought, for the sake of £350, the whole 12 chairs look renewed again. And it's little things like that, repurposing. And I was talking to somebody earlier about when I was a young hairdresser, the boss I worked for, they used to make you wash things out, and the youngsters have got into such a habit now just throwing away. So even processing caps in theory aren't ideal because they're plastic, but if you reuse and reuse, but it's taken me ages to make them, wash them out. There's nothing on them, you know. It's
I think
usually,
it's such a, like, single use lifestyle, though, isn't
so
it?
it's going back a little bit, and you know, but we had to gloves. We've stopped using disposable gloves now. We've gone on to a company that I used when I was training. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing. There were a little bit of you don't like these, they're brown and but you know, they get the gloves issued, and I say you don't, unless you've ripped them, you don't change them. And that has been significant change in the price of things as well. And like going back to the Green Salon Collective, the boxers, don't be scared of them, because actually we profit from it. You know, we make a profit on it. We don't. It's crazy.
And then you can drive that back into your other
and we drive
practices.
it back in all the time. We're just driving the profits back in to become more sustainable.
Yeah, but also it's quite a visible element of your salon. So I was going to say, I talked to a lot of salon owners over the years, and talking to the team and getting the team on board is really difficult. But what about the clients?
Yeah, I
They
was gonna
see
say.
the bins that you're using, but like how have they responded to that and other initiatives?
So this is what I would recommend to anybody. So when we joined Green Salon Collective, and there are other companies obviously, but Green Salon Collective has been amazing for us. So we just really got on board with it. We were excited about it. We talked about it. We had mirror talkers. We did so much things, and the clients kind of embraced it. And we just said, you know, it costs £1, and we kind of say to our clients, when you come to En Route, regarding the environment and sustainability, we've ticked all the boxes for you.
Yeah.
So you can come to En Route guilt-free regarding the environment. There's nothing to worry about. We've sorted it all out. And they seem to go for that.
Yeah, because I guess not all of your clients are necessarily 100% sustainability
No.
motivated, as it
Yeah.
were. But I guess it's, as you said, for those of them that, you know, some people are really interested in sustainability and really engaged in that conversation. But for other people, it's just another added nice feel that it's like, oh yeah, and I did a bit of good today because I know that when I went and saw Mel and the team, everything was sustainable.
And like, I mean, I remember the biggest thing actually were the towels. They were a little bit, some people were a little bit affronted by the towels when we first changed to disposable towels. But I don't like them, they're too thin, they don't, and so I had to educate the girls to use those as well, because, you know, you need to squeeze more and things like that. But you can get over every hurdle, it's not a problem. But I literally have a little dance every time I'm like, do a little demonstration. Would you like to take your towel home with you? They're made from sustainable wood pulp. They're great for your cloths. They're great for this. They're great for that. And I would say 90% of my clients, maybe more, take my towels.
Yeah.
But but one of the girls were on maternity, and when I did one of her clients, they said, I've never been asked before. I thought, I'm going to kill you, Kiri, for not talking about these towels. So see what I mean? It's just a constant thing, and you've just got to keep at it.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess it's been amazing to hear about everything you've done and how I guess that's progressed into then all the fantastic awards that you've won recently. How has that felt, I guess, because obviously that wasn't your reason for becoming more sustainable, but it's been a fantastic byproduct.
So winning the awards have been, I mean, honestly, it's the most amazing feeling ever. But when I win an award, if not all awards you do it have a speech or anything, but when I have been able to speak, I'm always grateful. I am so grateful. But I always say this award should become obsolete, really, because we should all be sustainable.
Yeah.
We should all be doing his bit. And unfortunately, I don't know the percentage, but so many salons aren't doing anything to try and become more sustainable.
You mentioned just quickly there about Refill and the Mirror Talkers. Could you just go into a little bit more detail about how they've kind of supported the business and how introducing them was part of your sustainability journey?
Yeah, so the Mirror Talkers were a project that, Steph, were you involved in?
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you guys
Denise
involved.
Baden, and we spent a load of time researching it and looking into it, and it was quite a scientific, behind it was quite a lot of scientific evidence.
Well, we were trying to
weren't it?
understand how effective they were at sparking conversations between clients and hairdressers around sustainable hair care practices. And they're just these small messages on mirrors. And
and they've got QR codes on them as well.
Yeah.
So basically, you put them on your mirror, and it's good for the stylist as well, because if you are trying to introduce sustainability, it kind of just is a little reminder. And we kind of sparked up conversation about it. Doesn't take me much to spark up a conversation about sustainability, but anyway. And they're just like little stickers with barcodes on, and it just gives little snippets. Like it could say, do you know that hair can grow food? And the question will be, really? What does it do? And it releases nitrogen when it gets in the soil and things like that.
Yeah.
Also, do you know that you don't need to shampoo your hair twice? Do you know that water, for instance, is one of the biggest energy consumers in the salon? And it was just really good, and we've still got them in our salon now. We still use them. They're brilliant.
Yeah, well, I know Authentic Beauty Concept and Green Sound Collective have partnered together on a series of mirror talkers. So if that is something that you're interested in getting your hands on, we'll put some information in the chat of how you can get your own mirror talkers so you can start to spark those conversations.
Yeah, it could be helpful for retailing as well, because there's some that like, have you ever tried leave-in conditioner? Have you tried shampoo? Yeah, could be helpful that way.
And then
the refills, So we set up a refill service quite a long time ago, and like I say, mine was more of a moral decision, not a business decision. And we just refilled them with 20%. But Authentic Beauty Concept now have got an amazing refill service, so that's kind of upped the level a lot better. But a lot of my clients refill now. They just come in with the bottles and we refill, and it has made a difference.
Well, I think it's to two-sided as well, because not only are you encouraging brand loyalty, which hopefully you've got from your client base anyway, but then also sustainability as well. So you've got those two different angles, which is really great.
Yeah, and I think once you it's all about communication. And I think once you communicate to your clients and kind of let them know what you're doing and what is available, they really do jump on board, actually.
Yeah.
Because nobody, I mean, I'm not being funny, but nobody wants this planet to fail, do they? So why aren't we helping?
Yeah.
Why aren't we trying to kind of keep it going? It's fabulous, it's amazing.
Definitely. I think if we come back to that then, and I have to say, obviously, listening to everything you've talked about, it is an investment of time and there is no shying away from that. But then how do we make it really accessible? And if a salon was completely starting from scratch, they'd never thought about sustainability because it's really overwhelming and they just don't know where to start. Like, what would be your recommendations for where they could just start?
Yeah, so what I would do is I would have like, I would write some things down. For instance, LED lighting. That makes a big difference. I changed my energy years ago now to renewable energy. And I'll be honest, when everybody were in this energy crisis, I mean, I were hearing people having like, with a similar size salon to mine, oh, my energy bill's £1,500 a month. And I'm like, really? Because honestly, I think the highest I've paid is $450 and it's gone back down now to £250 a month.
Whoa.
So, you know, so I'm not seeing expense from being sustainable. I'm seeing the other way. You know, recycling, you put your eco fee in and if it doesn't pay for it, it helps towards it.
Yeah.
And just have like a checklist, but just go slowly, have maybe an 8-week period and think about how can we, you know, tick boxes and just to try and do it slowly because there's so much. It is enormous.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, we don't have I don't have any kind of hand wash what's got any sulfates in it. So the detail can be quite difficult when you're not in it. But once you're in it, you think, like shower gel. I haven't used shower gel for years. I just wouldn't even think about using shower gel. I use soap, which is obviously sulfate free and blah, blah, blah. So my whole life has completely changed.
Yeah. And it started with 1 or 2 things.
Yeah.
It's almost like doing a bit of an audit as a place to start, like within your business. And I guess, as you said, like bringing it back to like not just what is good for the planet, but what's good for business too. And I like that.
And one of my missions is to actually do that, to try and go out and help salons, because I know so many people are floundering, because I go out now and it's, you know, they don't know where to start with it. And I think sometimes like net zero and carbon calculators and that get thrown in, but it's too far up the ladder that we need to get at the ground root and try and help people just with really simple steps.
Yeah. And it's not just about where to start, but I think that there's this common misconception that to be more sustainable is more expensive. Like, how do you approach that? Do you see sustainability as a cost or cost saving?
I'd say it's cost saving.
Yeah, even without the green fee.
No, I think you need to put the green fee in. You need to make them contribute. It has to be a contribution.
Yeah.
But regarding my energy use and things like that,
Right.
but it's beyond that as well, because in the salon we use Vish.
Yeah.
So we use Vish now, and you know, I know that we've reduced the amount of waste. I know it. I can see it.
And you're using less, you're wasting less, and that overhead comes straight down.
Yeah. So as overhead has come down. In fact, I've just had my year end basically, and the products I use are down. Things are down.
Yeah.
Massively.
Right.
And the team's not changed.
Yeah.
Right.
So we are obviously wasting far less.
And do you find, I know you said obviously you talked a little bit about the brands that you partner with, and was that a big important thing to see that the brands that you're partnering with are doing good things for sustainability?
The brands
as well?
I partner with have to be
be
sustainable. They have to be you know, showing me that they are doing A, B and C. Yeah, I couldn't work with it.
I like that. Well done. Fantastic.
I just couldn't. I just wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I thought, you know, you
need that alignment.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But when we first took Authentic Beauty on board, because it was more of a sustainable luxury brand, it's wonderful. It's a beautiful product. It's such a nice product, yeah. And we were a bit scared of that at first as well, because it were a higher end brand. But you know what? The ones who want that, and the ones who, all our products are sustainable, but if you want some luxury, you have to pay for it. And we do sell quite a lot of Authentic Beauty, so I'm really pleased with that as well.
Yeah, I think it's really, really important. And as I said, I think if people can just take away that message of like, although it might be a bit of an investment in time, like the kind of what it can lead to is so important, not only for the planet, but also for your business, for your clients, for yourself.
I think one of the key things about a product like Authentic Beauty is to show your clients how to use it. And kind of, I always do that because I know it's an expense. So I will actually go through it and say, you only need this much and you need to do this and you need to do that, because otherwise you're going to waste it. I mean, it's a known fact that most people use far too much shampoo anyway, and it just gets rinsed. That's another thing, talking about that. Obviously, we changed all the shower heads years ago to eco heads, but now we only actually shampoo once.
Yeah.
Unless we really...
Well, that's a big hairdressing dilemma. Do you shampoo once or twice?
Shampoo once now. So we only shampoo once now, unless we really feel like they need to. And we make a big thing about it. We tell them why. Because the twice thing has kind of been a bit of just...
It depends how much product you use in your hair, isn't it? Like if you need that deep cleanse,
or
once a week or...
Yeah, or sometimes we might have a client who comes in once a week for a blow dry.
Yeah.
I'd always shampoo hers twice. But you can tell straight away if you need to shampoo it twice, because it's bubbling like mad on the first shampoo.
Yeah.
But it just reduces water. And when we did some work with Denise Baden, who is a professor at Southampton University, she kind of said the biggest problem we have is consumption.
I was going to come on to the Mirror Talkers because I know that was a project that you worked really closely on together.
It's using too much.
Yeah.
The Mirror Talkers were so good. And actually, even one of my clients who I've done for years and years and years, she actually saw one of the Mirror Talkers the other day. She'll have seen it before, but she actually questioned it and she said, "What do you mean hair can be turned into food?" And that was from a Mirror Talker. Nice. And then we obviously had a conversation about that. So they are really useful.
Yeah.
You can't pretend that everybody's going to mention them every time, but they are leaders into becoming more sustainable.
I think it's scary though a little bit, because obviously we're talking about encouraging clients to use less products. And I know on the Mirror Talkers that we've partnered on, it's, you could use spray conditioner instead of normal conditioner, so that you're not having to rinse it out. You can use dry shampoo to extend the use. And in those instances, obviously we are selling more product, but from, I guess, a historic business point of view, encouraging someone to wash their hair less, or as you said, guiding your client to use a little bit less product so they're not wasting it, feels historically a little bit counterintuitive maybe, because obviously you want that retail sales and you want to grow your business, but I guess it's how do you navigate through that?
You're a sustainable angel, you need morally it just won't.
Are you going to get badges? I think we should all get badges with that.
It doesn't wash with me, that I would rather them feel like they're getting value from what they're buying, and maybe buy, because they're not going to buy that much.
And they might buy more products.
Yeah, they're not going
to
exactly. They're not going to buy a lot less.
Yeah.
And like you say, but because they're not having to buy the shampoo as often, they might buy an extra product to complement that product. So I don't even think that. And I think quite a few people have heard this story now about when I first did a refill, and they were up in arms a little bit because I'm just saying, I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm not sure you should be doing that. And I'm like that. I'm doing it, and I'm going to knock 20% off, and that's that. And and I know it might not be, but it might not have been the best business decision, but morally it worked for me. So that's what I did.
Well, and the industry caught up afterwards.
Exactly. And that was so frustrating as well. And I'll be honest with you, I do feel a little bit like that. I feel like I've been jumping up and down now because I'm here today, but I've got kind of 5-6 years behind me of trying to shout and fly the flag for sustainability. And I feel like I've been unheard for quite a long time. So being given these opportunities are absolutely amazing for me, and I'm forever grateful for that, because honestly I've been flying the flag for sustainability for so long now, and it's like suddenly like, oh, maybe we should listen a little bit. So
it's great because you've been doing this for so long, and there was this moment that changed how you ran your business, but it did start somewhere. And now fast forward several years later, and you are like a champion for sustainability in this industry. So it gives this really great evidence, this proof that it is possible for any salon of any kind to do the same. Yeah.
And I will say that my salon is out of town. It's a village. Yes, it's an affluent village. Yes, it's a busy salon. It's a really busy salon. But, it's not, you can be sustainable anywhere. It's not about being city centre or doing it just to tick a box. It should just become like a way of life, really.
Right.
I did just want to touch on one thing that I know that you do that I would love to talk about on here as well, which is the sense of community that you've built within the area that you're in, because I know that you obviously, in terms of the food that you serve your clients or supporting the local gardens or people with allotments, could you just tell us a little bit about that? Because I do think that's a fantastic angle of what you do as well.
So going back to so one of the things that we did was we got rid of the biscuits with the plastic, because I just couldn't bear it. I just thought, oh, the biscuits were
Mel has caught me eat a Mars bar once, and I have never eaten one since, because I didn't realise that they had palm oil.
So the biscuits were full of palm oil. Yeah, watch out.
Wrapped.
Watch out for the chocolate, people, because some of the chocolate is full of palm oil. Absolutely
Nutella.
full of it. Yeah,
Stop.
full. Do you know 50% of everything in the supermarket is palm oil?
Yes.
It is so horrendous. Please, if you do anything, please just go and research palm oil a little bit, because that's my thing and horrible. Anyway, so the biscuits were full of palm oil, but then the little bits of plastic were just freaking me out. I just thought this was ridiculous. So I went up to the cafe 3 doors up from where the salon is and said, do you think you could make us some little biscuits, please? So that's what they did. And then the other thing that we did was, like you say, we actually linked with the local allotment, and they come and collect hair from us every week.
Okay.
And they collect some towels as well, and they put them in the compost, because both together make absolutely amazing compost.
Yeah.
So, So it is like
I just love that then sustainability has been such a vehicle for community as well. And
it's a massive vehicle for community. It is. And also, if I'm all right to speak about this, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to in the near future is we've set up a little sideline called En Route to Sustainability. And it's with my manager, Shannon. And basically, because I know that people don't know where to start, these are for us to go out to salon owners and do workshops and just help them. And I feel, because I know it works, and I know that you can charge the eco fee, and I know that you've got nothing to be scared of. I'm really hoping in the future that we can get some workshops going for salon owners, and you know, it can go so far wide as well. But I really feel at the moment we really need to help salon owners, you know, get themselves on track with it.
And when there's so much going on as well, like having that support, I'm sure will be invaluable for people that really want to make that change. How do people get in touch to?
Well, they could email us at. Let me just remember what it is.
We can put it in. We'll put it in.
We'll put it all in the chat, and you can email either myself and Shannon, and we can help you really to get on your sustainable journey. Definitely.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it's been so amazing to chat to you. I think before we go, Mel, if we could just have, I guess, one final bit of wisdom or top tip from you in terms of what is one thing that someone could just go out and do today that would start their sustainability journey.
So I think one of the biggest things is recycling. Because you, as a salon, you make lots of waste. So get on recycling. Like I say, I use Green Salon Collective, and I found them wonderful. It isn't as scary or as expensive as you think. If, like I say, if you need any help with it, if you want to speak to me about it, you can do. But they're amazing at Green Salon Collective. But that's because it's such a big thing. And I think that's a really good place to start.
Amazing.
Great. Yeah, that's good advice.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mel. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you from myself and Steph, and we look forward to seeing you on our next episode.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mel.